Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where I'll show you how to join two or more items into one string in Excel using the concatenate, concat, and TEXTJOIN functions. Being able to use these functions will reduce the need of manually connecting different pieces of data, therefore helping you to save a lot of time. In this video, I will cover 5 main examples of concatenate, concat, and TEXTJOIN, which will give you all the main applications you need to know. In example 1, we have a bunch of people's first and surnames and want to connect them together in one cell. Instead of having to rewrite them manually, we can simply use the concatenate function to do it for us. This function requires us to input all of the cells we want to join. So we type equals concatenate, first input the first name, followed by the surname, and then we can click enter. As you can see, this gives us Charles Andrews. However, this doesn't look quite right, as there is no space between the first and last name. To add a space, we can add quotation marks containing a space between the two cells. Now the full name has a space in between. We can then double click the bottom right hand corner to bring this formula down quickly. Therefore, using concatenate to join these 9 names really helped us save time, instead of having to do it manually. Imagine how useful the concatenate function could therefore be if we had hundreds or even thousands of names. However, the concatenate function also has its disadvantages. When there are many different cells that we want to join together, it's excessively time consuming. In example 2, we have a bunch of characters and want to join them together to make a password. Once again, we can type equals concatenate and then input each one individually. However, a faster way to do it is using the concat function. It works the exact same way as concatenate. The only difference is that it allows us to select all of these cells at once instead of having to do it individually. Let me demonstrate. Therefore, while concatenate works fine when there are a small number of cells we want to join, concat is a much better option when we want to join many cells. Let's now move on to example 3. Here we want to join the text, "The weather is lovely," into one sentence. One way is to use the concat function. We could simply select all of these cells and click enter. However, this sentence doesn't look right, as there are no spaces between the words. To add spaces using concat or concatenate, we would have to input each cell manually, followed by a space, which is quite time consuming. To overcome this, we can use the TEXTJOIN function, which allows us to use delimiters such as spaces. So we type equals TEXTJOIN, first enter the delimiter, in our case a space. For the next argument we can click false, and finally we can select all of the cells. This looks much better. Therefore, when forming sentences, it's usually best to stick with TEXTJOIN. Let's explore another advantage of TEXTJOIN in example 4. Here we have a bunch of shopping items which we want to combine to form a shopping list. However, you may be wondering whether item 3 being blank will pose any problems. Let's have a look. So we type equals TEXTJOIN. We first enter the delimiter, which in the case of this list will be a comma followed by a space. Next we can again add false and then select the list. Excel has returned the list, however it doesn't look quite right with the extra comma here. To overcome this, we can edit our TEXTJOIN formula. Instead of selecting false and therefore including empty text, we can select true, which tells Excel to ignore any empty values. The list now looks much better as the blank item has been excluded. The option to ignore delimiters when a cell is blank is therefore an added benefit of the TEXTJOIN function. However, there may be instances when TEXTJOIN is not appropriate. In example 4, we have the text "subscribe to ExcelHub." Clearly, it's meant to say "subscribe to the ExcelHub." Let's therefore try to join the text using both TEXTJOIN and CONCAT. Starting with TEXTJOIN, we can once again add a space as a delimiter. We can click True as we wanted to ignore the empty text. And finally, we can select all the cells. TEXTJOIN has returned subscribe to Excel Hub, therefore excluding the missing word the. We can overcome this by using CONCAT. So we type equals CONCAT, manually enter the first cell, followed by a space, and then input the second cell. For the third cell, we're going to manually input the missing word. And we can then add the final cells. Therefore, the concat function has retrieved the sentence just the way we wanted it. So you may be asking, which function is the best one? Well, concat is definitely better than concatenate, as it can join cells individually, but also join several cells as an array. Therefore, if you prefer, you can always use concat over concatenate. On the other hand, TEXTJOIN and concat are both good in their own ways. As a rule of thumb, TEXTJOIN works best when you need to use delimiters such as spaces and sentences, while concat is usually more efficient for everything else. This brings us to the end of this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you found it useful, and subscribe to the Excel Hub for weekly Excel tutorials, techniques, and examples.